The newer landscapes have a lot of movement in them and a lot of color. Um, a lot of grasses, a lot of flowering, shrubs, a lot of texture changes, a lot of interest in the landscape. They're not just filling voids anymore. And these landscapes, because of some of the newer plant varieties, they can actually be lower maintenance landscapes and give you all this interest. We're trying to take the larger client. We're not trying to do individual homes.
Right.
We're trying to do individual communities as a whole.
Right.
HOAs, large commercial properties, hospitals, universities, industrial sites. That's our forte.
Okay. Resorts.
Yeah, resorts,
malls,
absolutely.
Airports.
Yeah, anything that's a large landholder would be our client.
So talk about the values when you guys do halfway right to an absolute beautiful job. What does that do for that property, surrounding areas?
Yeah, it's a man-hour.
Customers.
It's a man-hour thing. Everybody always says they want Sacred Heart quality. For instance, I mean, Sacred Heart quality is Sacred Heart quality because we put a tremendous amount of man-hours in there, doing the little things. That's where the value is understanding the process of what makes a property come together completely. Because you can make a property look pretty good by just no blow and go, but if you want it to really pop, you got to do all those little things, and that's inputs. I mean, fertilizer inputs, pesticide inputs, the hedging, color, right? Yeah, I mean, changeout. I mean, landscapes don't last forever.
So how long does it last?
It typically a installation of a new landscape. The lifespan has always been known to be 12 years.
So let's talk about the different zones. So you got Via de Luna on the Gulf, then you got Highway 98, Gulf Breeze, Fort Walton, Navy Base, that area, and then you go downtown. You got Garden Street, Cervantes, and then you move up to Brent Lane. So as we go up every mile, 10 miles, 9 Mile Road, Molino, what's the different growth? How long does it last? The same difference?
Pretty much the same difference. I mean, on the beachfront, your main component that you're up against is the wind. The wind shreds everything, including sable palms, which are most wind-resistant trees. But they can handle it better than any other plant. The salt is a problem, but it's of importance. You do moderately salt-tolerant plants on the beach, and you're fine. It's the wind that gets you. So even wind-resistant landscapes can look rough, say at the end of March, end of April, when you've had that spring, where you had 25 out of the last 30 days have been 15 miles per hour plus. But you certainly have the buffer of the heat sink out there of the water. So your coldest night, you're going to be warmer than everybody else. As you move inland, that is still the case. I mean, Gulf Breeze has water on both sides. It's going to be much warmer than, say, Cantonment and then Molino. I mean, you can see a 10-degree temperature change.
So if you have a building and you're going to do the change out, you get your CAM fees, you get your HOA fees, you get your planning fees. How much do you figure per acre it's going to cost to change that out every 5-10 years, or whatever the number is?
What I have always told people as a rule of thumb in the business is, if you'll plan on whatever you determine your budget number to be, and what your maintenance costs are going to be per year, then figure an additional 10% should be set aside for improvements, change-outs, redesigns. It's just like, when you put a fresh coat of paint on a wall in a room that's going to be highly used. I mean, you don't have to refresh that coat of paint every once in a while. And that's what plants are. Trees pretty much can last, forever. I mean, there's lifespans on trees, of course, depending on the species of tree. But plants will get woody. They will get, where they're slower growing. the stalk on a shrub. And the stalk on a shrub is 3 inches in caliper. That shrub is pretty much when its lifespan, and it's going to be thinner. It's going to be not as happy looking. You're not going to have the nice growth you would on a newer plant. It's going to be stubby looking and just not resilient looking.
If you did have a house, it's the same numbers on how long these plants and shrubs and beddings are going to last, right?
Right. And some shrubs, it's specific to the shrub, and ground cover. But yes, I mean, if you've got say you're looking at selling a home, or even a commercial piece of real estate, and if that landscape was installed 15 years ago, it would be a wise investment to simply tear it out, redo it, have it. It will make it look new again, and look up to date.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, if it's tired looking, the people buying it they're going to use that to beat you up with it.
Right. And what we find is a lot of times is the buyer's not going to take on an older house because it looks like too much maintenance. They go to a brand new house that's got these teeny little bushes that a builder put out there, and like, oh, I can handle that.
Right.
But then they get to an older home, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to spend all morning Saturday on my yard. I don't want to do that. And then they end up, 3 years later, they're in the same spot because of the way it feels and looks.
Yeah. It's that perception, and certainly a new plant. The first 4 or 5 years you have it, there's gonna be less maintenance on it. An established plant, people, hurry, I can't wait till it gets 3 feet tall, and then when it gets 3 feet tall, they have a hard time holding it there. So a newer landscape perception is less maintenance, easier maintenance, and it is. It takes less time to maintain a new landscape.
Right.
But trends in landscaping, though, I mean, trends change. I mean, we're not seeing a lot of the plant palettes that were used 10 years ago. We're not doing anymore.
So what do you recommend people look for?
The newer landscapes have a lot of movement in them and a lot of color. A lot of grasses, a lot of flowering, shrubs, a lot of texture changes, a lot of interest in the landscape. They're not just filling voids anymore. And these landscapes, because of some of the newer plant varieties, they can actually be lower maintenance landscapes and give you all this interest. Grasses move in the wind, so that movement is very attractive. And then there's evergreen grasses or grasses that bloom. I mean, the pink muleys, have the pink inflorescence in the fall. The adagio grass has that beautiful white bloom top. It's like a small pampas grass, if you will, in the mid to late summer. Of course, in your breeze grass is an evergreen. It's actually in the sedge family, but it's evergreen and it has that yellowish green color. So you got to play on texture. It's a finer grass, and it gets large, and when it blooms, its inflorescence is kind of unnoteworthy, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it gives you texture changes, to color changes, and then movement, and then you work in drift roses, which are like the knockout shrub rose, but they stay low. They're virtually no maintenance. I mean, you may have to trim on it in 6 or 8 years. But I mean, those are the type of plants that you want. You want color.